Now, the split of Tom Cruise and Katie Holmes has sparked a huge backlash against Scientology in some sectors. Even Rupert Murdoch joined the growing number of critics launching public attacks.
He tweeted, "There is something creepy, maybe even evil about these people." Well, Bruce Hines is a former high-level Scientologist, and David Millikan is our resident expert on religion and cults. Good morning to you both, gents. Bruce, we will start with you. You worked inside this infamous Sea Org arm of Scientology that seems to be at the centre of the Holmes-Cruise split. What was it like?
Well, I was a member for 24 years. The Sea Org is the top level of Scientology. The entire management structure is composed of Sea Org members and various Sea Org management units. The life inside is very military-like. We all wore a uniform that was similar to the American Navy. You work very long hours. There is saluting, and you have to call people sir, even if they're a woman. Marching, standing at attention. Typically, 110, 120-hour weeks is not uncommon. Very low pay, and harsh discipline. You're pretty well cut off from the outside world. You are not allowed on the internet without special permission. You can't have a cell phone, and you really don't know much what's going on the outside. It's a very, very controlled environment.
It's a bit like being a 16th century papal knight, but without plundering the Holy Land. Bruce, you dedicated 30 years of your life to Scientology. Why did you leave in the end?
Well, I no longer agreed with some of the changes that were happening. And once I got out and finally got on the internet, I'd never been on the internet, I read about it and saw some of the horrific things that happened, and they agreed with things that I myself experienced. And from that point on, I've totally separated myself from the Sea Org or Scientology.
Do you still believe, do you still have faith in the beliefs or the religious, if you can call it that, basis of Scientology?
No, I do not. I do have some friends who have left the official church that still do, and I believe anyone can believe what they want, but I myself, I do no longer practice or believe in what they do.
Okay, David, no religion on the planet attracts celebrities like Scientology. You know, Tom Cruise, obviously, John Travolta, very high-profile people. They even got James Packer at one point. What's the attraction?
Look, I think we're seeing the other side of that attraction now. You see, Tom Cruise was really like the Scientologist. He was the perfect man, and he represented Scientology so clearly. And for him to have his marriage fall apart, that's a real challenge to their philosophy as to who he is and how Scientology works. So Scientology is under a bit of pressure at the moment, and it's coming from three areas. Internally, people are expressing more and more unhappiness around the middle management. There's a sort of hunger for respectability. They're sick of being treated with suspicion all the time, and that's causing defections, quite a lot of defections. Also, they're getting pressure from the outside. They're losing their gloss. And that attraction that they had for high-flying stars, I think you've seen the end of it, really.
Really?
Oh, yes. I think they're actually starting to get on the nose.
What was the attraction in the first place? Is it, I mean, with Tom Cruise, you sort of think maybe it's that God complex where, that he's attracted to something like this because he thinks he's beyond
Look,
life.
I think people join because they see a group of people who have an enormous sense of focus as to what life's about. Now, that's extraordinarily invigorating. And if you see a group of people like that and you think, damn it, look, they've got this real sort of glow about them, this sense of purpose. That can be the first thing that attracts people. I want some of that. And once you step in, and then the logic, the internal logic begins to take over, then off you go.
Well, I mean, it's not just Scientology that attracts, you know, celebrities. Every religion has that. I mean, Tibetan Buddhism is a great example of, you know, high-profile people being attracted to exactly what you're talking about, that sense of life's purpose. David, Scientology leaders have gone to ground since the Tomcat split, so you can only assume that they're in crisis talks right now. Can you tell us about the church's leader? Is it David Miscavige, who was Tom Cruise's best man at Katie's wedding? Sorry, Bruce, this is for you. What's he like? Is he a very charismatic character?
Well, he can be. My opinion is he's a sociopath. He has an extremely volatile temper. He gets very, very angry, and I've actually personally been struck by him. Oh.
You mean physically struck?
Yes. And there are many, many instances where he's done that.
Right, and
not just to me, but to other people.
So how would he have won over someone like, I mean, he wouldn't be striking Tom Cruise, I imagine. How would he become so close to someone like Tom Cruise?
Well, it was a very concerted effort that started in the late 1980s or early 1990s. And he brought Tom Cruise to the International Management Headquarters. It's a compound in the California desert that was a big secret at the time. And he came and gave him very special treatment and introduced him to Scientology and kind of walked him through it. And when you do that, you slowly, or maybe not so slowly, but you definitely start to adopt the ideas. And that's how Tom Cruise got involved.
How do you rise to the top of Scientology? What's the basis for that? I mean, in the Catholic Church, for example, you have to go through years of, you know, theological learnings and demonstrate your, you know, your erudition in those areas. How does it work that you rise to the top of Scientology?
Well, you can rise to the top as a manager, and there you do have to demonstrate, you sort of work your way up, and you've shown that you're able to manage an area or control people. You can also rise up as a counselor, which is what I did, and there's quite a lot of training where you learn how to do their practice of auditing or a form of counseling. And for example, though, to be at that international headquarters I was talking about, there is a very, very arduous security clearance. And you are interrogated, and they check your past, and they check your record in the Sea Org and everything before you're given the okay to even go there.
Really, really, really quickly, David, do you consider it a religion?
Oh, it's a religion. The interesting thing is that Australia was the first country in the world to declare Scientology a church.
Yeah,
on the equal grounds in 1982.
Okay.
We're sort of out of time,
Yeah,
but it'd be interesting to have a discussion between how you define the difference between a cult and a religion.
But that's for another day.
For another day.
Lovely to
We'll
see
get you back to discuss that. No doubt we'll still be talking about Tomcat next week, though. So, you know, there'll be an opportunity.
Bruce, thank you very much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks very much, Bruce. Good on you. We did invite the Church of Scientology to take part in our discussion this morning, but the church declined.